Hey there, thanks for joining us again. Hopefully provide some information to you in this video that's going to help as we all move through this coronavirus pandemic event, whatever you want to call it, that is totally bringing down and destroying many of the things that we thought were givens and we thought would never go away, and a lot of which we all took for granted. Our financial systems, our ability to make a living, all the things that have always been there for the most part that are now are now not there for a lot of people. And this isn't easy for anyone, and for those people who have been doing the work for quite some time, and when I say the work, I mean going within themselves and becoming okay with whatever it is that might be happening outside of them, and trying to protect themselves from those things. And for those people who haven't been doing that, this event is something that is going to be very painful. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And it doesn't mean that for those of us who have been doing some of the work, it doesn't mean we're perfect. It doesn't mean that we're better than someone else. It doesn't mean that everything's always good for us. It just means that we understand, and we've gotten to a point where we really do realize that everything is always working out for us. And it is for you too. You just have to work through it, and you have to believe that. And that's a good place to be. So what the hell are you supposed to do if you were thrown into this firestorm, this hell on earth, and you haven't done the work, or you really don't know where to start or why it's happening? And that's a good question. So I worked with a client previously, and I'll tell you some things. A lot of people out there, and this client did this repeatedly and was pretty deeply entrenched in it. His identity was based in what he did for a living, and his performance as it relates to that, and also productivity, and also ability to make a living, making money, and those type things. And sometimes for people like that, it can be a double-edged sword, because a lot of people who fall into that category, who are strivers and always trying to be better, not necessarily better than other people, but just better, and hold themselves to a standard that they know they can't even achieve. But these, they continue to do that, continue to strive, and nothing's ever good enough. And it's really a very difficult place to live. So, what we worked through, and what was most important, was getting to a point where the business and he were separate. And so instead of him treating himself as a human doing, he was able to learn how to actually be a human being and just be okay. Because I'm here to tell you, life is magical. But, it's like the saying goes, those who do not believe in magic will never find it. And you could substitute the word magic for just about anything. But do you think that it's better to be on this earth during this period of time and look at things as though they're magical rather than they're not? Look at everything as though it's a miracle rather than nothing is a miracle. And so with this client, we worked through these issues and got to a point through a lot of very deep work and going within, to the point where it wasn't necessary for him to believe that his worth and his ability to receive love was related to productivity, money, success in business, and all those things that are easy to get entrenched to. So, how does this apply to you, and how does this apply to this coronavirus, COVID-19 issues that we're going through? Well, a lot of people are in deep despair right now for multiple reasons. A lot of people are, their businesses are failing. They've lost their jobs. And the psychological effect of a failing business or the loss of a job is astronomical. And that is not to be taken lightly. And there are times whenever there are psychological or mental health issues that need to be dealt with by a professional. And certainly I would encourage anyone out there who feels like they need that to seek that out, for sure. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people think that that's a sign of weakness. It's absolutely not. It's totally a sign of power and of courage. It takes a lot of courage to admit that something's wrong and to get help. And so I would challenge anyone out there to do that if you feel like that would be helpful for you. So if you're sitting there right now and you're going, this guy is crazy, because how can we focus on the positive, and how can we look at this as somewhat of a good thing? And the answer to that is, it's not easy being thrown into the fire. But once you're there and you get your bearings and you can look around, and then you can determine for yourself what it is inside of you that is causing you despair. And what things are you putting importance on that maybe you shouldn't be? And this is a difficult lesson for all of us. Whether someone's been doing the work for a while, whether they're just starting. And I recognize that it is so difficult to start this work in the midst of a lot of pain and a lot of suffering. But that's where the growth comes. It's very rare that we learn things through our successes. Most of the time we learn things through our failures, through mistakes that we make, and things that happen that we don't have control over. And that's one of the lessons, I think, within this pandemic issue is, what is it that we're going to take ownership of? And what is it that we need to let go of control over? Because I'm here to tell you, there are a lot of people, myself included, who try to control so many things that we have no control over. And ultimately, I think that's the great spiritual test here, and the one of the great spiritual tests here, and one of the things that the lessons to be learned is factoring in what it is that we try to control on a daily basis, and how can we let go of the need to control those things, because in the end, those things are just not things that we should be focused on. We should not be focused on trying to control every aspect of everything about our lives. And so I think it's important to remember and to really focus on, what is it that this is bringing up for you? What is it that this is triggering inside of you? And you have to go within and go deep within your heart, within your soul, within your mind, in your subconscious mind, and figure out what it is that is causing you to have a feeling of despair. It's okay to be anxious about the future. It's okay to be worried, but sitting around and worrying about something is not going to help. you just need to find the next step that you need to take. And that could be focusing on yourself, focusing on your self-care, getting out and going for a walk, exercising, doing the things that you need to do in order to make sure that you remain healthy through this. And, sitting around and trying to figure out why this happened, or whether this person in government should be doing this, or that person, or whatever, none of that stuff's going to be productive for you. So I would challenge you to embrace this time that we have, because if you embrace it and you focus on asking yourself, what lesson am I being taught here? What is the purpose of this? Why am I having to go through this? Then you're going to get those nuggets and those God winks, or those things that come to you, and it's going to be very clear to you as to why it's happening. And it's like Steve Jobs used to say, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backwards. And we don't know why this is happening right now. And it's a waste of our damn time to be focused on, why is this happening? What is none of that stuff's productive. None of it is. So I would challenge you to get outside, to let go of your desire for productivity, to let go of your identity being tied to your work or your job or your business. Focus on the things that are more important. Focus on getting outside. Focus on your health. And focus on meditation. Focus on your spiritual practice, whatever that looks like for you. There's a lot of people that do not understand and don't know how to meditate. There's so many great apps out there that have nailed this. And that I think is the lesson for a lot of people, for all of us, for most of us, that this is driving us to learn to sit with ourselves, to learn how to focus on what's going on within us, and to operate from a place of love and courage and character and integrity, rather than a place of fear. And I think that if anything, what you could get from this video is, I've got to learn how to go within myself in order to sort these things out. Because watching the news and going through the 24/7 news cycle and worrying about things and having the opinion that the sky is falling, even if it is, let it fall around you, and you go within and really focus on what you can control, and your thoughts and your actions as it relates to making it through this, because we're all in this together, and we all have to learn the lessons in order for us to get out of this together. And you're not responsible for what's going on in other parts of the country or the world, unless that's part of what you do. And the way that you can help to heal the world, and the way that you can help the greater good, the consciousness of the world, is by healing yourself and focusing on yourself and meditating and praying and getting your own priorities in order, because in the end, that's really all you have control over anyway. And to focus on what's going on in other parts of the world, or in other parts of your state or the country, it's not going to be productive. And so focus on what you can control, and focus on your thoughts, and focus on how you can get better, and how you can learn to go within, and you can meditate, and you can do affirmations. And those are all things that are very, very, very important. And the last thing that I'll tell you as we're leaving here is, everything is always working out for you. Everything. Always. It's working out for me too. You just have to believe that. And you have to put into practice, a spiritual practice, so that that is ingrained within you. I would challenge you to write it down. Read it to yourself when you're feeling down, depressed, anxious, worried. Everything's always working out for me. And I know that to be true because I've spent the last 2.5 years figuring it out. And the purpose of what we're going through right now is to be a catalyst for you to figure that out too, if you haven't already. And it's not the end. This is the beginning. This is the beginning of a renewed earth, of a rebirth, a reawakening. And I challenge you to go within. And I know that you won't regret it. To focus on your thoughts. Focus on being kind and loving rather than focusing on the negative aspects of this. So I challenge you, commit it to memory, write it down, put it everywhere you can. Everything is always working out for me, and it is for you too. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you next time.